This series of technical seminar-style videos dives deep into the world of ice fishing, uncovering detailed patterns and hidden techniques with the ultimate goal of helping you catch more and bigger fish this ice fishing season. Welcome to Expose the Ice, presented by Clam Outdoors and Onyx Fish.
Welcome back to another episode of Expose the Ice, presented by Clam Outdoors and Onyx Fish. Today's episode, we're going to be doing an in-depth breakdown on ice fishing panfish setups.
Yeah, before we get into that though, if you're out there looking for panfish, the one thing you got to do is be on a lake that has panfish, and specifically trophy panfish if that's what you're looking for. We use Onyx Fish to do that. They're an awesome partner of ours and for the Crappie Chronicles. So we have an awesome discount code. If you want to check out Onyx Fish and use it for all kinds of fisheries data and finding new lakes, use our code. It's Crappie. You can use that on the website to get a discount, 20% off. Use it on the website. You can download the app and then you'll be all set up to get after it and start using it to find big crappies.
Yeah, before we break down into rods, there's going to be a lot of really unique tackle storage items that are going to be available this year. Starting with Clam has a couple additions. So they've had the slim jig boxes for a long time now. These are amazing to just slide in your bib pocket. They're very small and compact. We use them as little mini day boxes. So what we know is going to work for that lake on that certain day, we'll just toss into this little box right here, and it's really nice and handy. Now, for our bigger storage options, Clam came out with their new HD box this year. So this is really unique. It has a jig holder side to it, but it also has a open, like, segmented tackle box section that's magnetic. So the main reason why that's super nice is now your jigs and your spoons aren't going to be banging around. They're going to be glued in with the magnetic strips on the inside. So you don't have to worry about your paint chipping anymore. But those are two awesome additions that Clam has done to their tackle storage lineup. Now, to store the tackle storage lineup, Clam has their new slim backpack. What's unique about this, for guys like us, when we like to hike into places that we can't usually have machines at, this has a rod holder function to the back portion of it, where you can actually clip in multiple rods to the backside while still having access to all of your tackle, your soft plastics, your spoons, your boxes, everything on a big, large open compartment inside. So definitely check out this new backpack feature if you like to, you know, rough it like we do and hike back into places.
Yeah, and two other new really cool options from Arsenal Ice are one, these frosted legacy bags. These are super cool. They have really big zipper pulls on top, extremely durable. The zipper itself is not actually metal, so it doesn't freeze, which is super cool. You can put a ton of stuff in this. This one's absolutely loaded, but you can put all kinds of things in there.
And it's waterproof too.
Yeah, and probably one of the coolest things is this new Recon bag. It's actually like a soft bag pouch situation with that same really sweet zipper on top. You can load this thing up with plastics. It's got some little jig holders in there as well. This is going to be sweet for putting in your bib pockets and keeping all your plastics organized. Really looking forward to that one, but super cool product from Arsenal Ice.
Well, let's get down into rods. Griff and Bart are going to do some breakdowns on our power fishing rods up next.
Okay, first of all, before we even get to breaking down some of these rods, a lot of questions from people all the time of how do I attach a reel to a rod that does not have a reel seat. So for example, this isn't even one of our rods. This is a Clam Katana rod. There is a ton of ice rods on the market like this that have no reel seats. So there's a bunch of different ways you can do this. Griff, I mean, if you want to talk about a couple of the things you have for attaching there.
Yeah, so this is one that Pink showed me. So he uses like the fiberglass tape, and then he runs it over with hockey tape, just kind of stiffen it up and get the reel so it doesn't really flex much.
Then also what you can use is Clam has the silicone Pro Wrap. And then Eagle Claw also makes the same type of thing. A bunch of different companies make this type of Pro Wrap if you like it that way. I personally use, I don't have any of it with me, but I have there's the self-adhering medical tape that you can use. And then I will also wrap it with electrical tape. The only thing I'll say is I wouldn't recommend electrical tape if you're going straight to cork because it will leave a residue. So you want to put a base layer of something down. And the biggest reason you'd use this stuff too is use whatever whatever you want in terms of attaching for panfish. You can use elastic bands as well. There's a bunch of companies that have that, like Cold Snap. But when you start getting to bigger fish, if you don't have it strapped down well, like with this type of stuff that Griff showed, it will start to flex a little bit. It's not taking anything away from what you're doing. It just feels weird. So
yeah, it feels very weird when your reel's trying to pull itself away from the reel or the rod as you're trying to fight the fish. So I use electrical tape just because I use it on the wind grips with the schoolie. So I don't have much residue on there. And if there is, you can just goog on and it comes right off. So there's plenty of options for that. Do whatever you like, to be honest with you. Whatever makes you feel good, whatever you're comfortable with, just go with that.
Perfect. Okay, now we're getting into noodle rods. Okay, Griff, you want to talk about this a little bit? So we have Waldo's Chronicle. There's also I have some of them right here.
There's a ton of companies that make a comparable noodle rod.
There is so many companies out there that make noodle rods. You want to talk about Elliott has a great long one. 2B has some. DH has had some. Tuned Up,
Clam,
JT, Clam.
Everybody's
got a noodle rod. So we use Waldo's Chronicle. These are the ones we prefer, but this kind of goes for all of them in a noodle style rod of what you're looking for. So what are you kind of looking for and using this for, Griff?
You can do different lengths. I mean, there's short noodle rods, long noodle rods, extra long noodle rods. We kind of go in the middle with like the 32 to 36 inch range of noodle rod. And what you want is that initial end to be that kind of noodly part. So you could really work those baits and get the really refined action out of it. And then when you do load up on the fish, it does have a backbone. You just got to, load it up, obviously. But that noodle tip also helps when the fish are fighting and you get these bigger head shakes like this. You'll notice in a lot of videos that these bigger 2+ pound crappies, you'll see that rod really pulsing like this. And I feel like that noodle tip really helps with that pull, so you don't pop your lure out of their mouth.
Yeah, and then reel-wise on this, we now use a lot of spinning reels, actually. Yep. There's been a huge movement, I would say, in the last however many years of going towards your like spooler elites or Black Betties or whatever that inline spooler would be for reels. But we a lot of times go to a spinning reel now, and that is largely because we use Waldo's Chronicle for pinheads and spoons and hole hopping, being aggressive and working fast. So having a spinning reel allows you to do that very quickly. Now, if we're in shallower water, like in the backwaters or something, we might have one of Waldo's Chronicle or a noodle rod rigged up with a spooler elite, but for the most part, it's spinning reels.
Yeah, deeper water, the reason with the spinning rod is when we're running and gunning, so you're trying to get in front of these fish, and you can just go up there, flip the bail open, that thing's ripping down there. You're not having to feed the line off and deal with all that. So that's one of the main reasons we use it, but yeah, and then the line we use, 3 to 4 pound mono. I'm a 4 pound mono guy. Some of these guys like to do different things. Pink likes to use braid with mono. But whatever your preferences is and whatever you like, what you're confident in is the biggest thing.
Biggest thing is bread and butter is 3 to 4 pound, and especially for like a spoon rod, using this noodle rod, 4 pound tends to be the best. If you're looking for examples of us using this rod, half of the Crappie Chronicles has fish catches of this rod. Like, we use this a ton. This is our bread and butter pinhead rod and kind of what we would go after.
And then another thing we do to kind of keep a lot of fish pinned is back that drag down so it's not super tight. So when these fish are pulling, like you'll kind of hear with, like I talked about this in a different episode, kind of like you see with the minnow guys in open water and the drop shot guys, when they set the hook, it's just constant drag. Well, that's just helping them not lose the fish because the fish can run, he can shake his head, he can do whatever. Kind of the same thing with these noodle rods. Back your drag off a little bit just so you can get a good hook set and then let that drag do its work.
Okay, perfect. So now we're going to dive into a rod we get a ton of questions about, and that is the Griff's Chronicle. So this is a schoolie rod, your old school schoolie. Biggest thing with this is, to my knowledge, the only one that comes like this. They're just to get a schoolie rod without doing a ton of modifications. Now, Griff, what are a couple other brands or rods that guys like tournament guys will use for putting a schoolie?
I mean,
You
a
have
lot
the
of
old
the
True
guys use, yeah, the Ice Blues, the Jason Mitchell meat stick. A lot of guys, well, what they'll do is they'll have a rod that might be as long as Waldo's, but they'll cut it down like here because they basically want this portion of it, and they don't want it very long because when you fish a schoolie, a lot of times you're right over the hole. You're trying to get very precise movements with your rod, and you're really controlling your bait. And then another thing, if it's super windy outside, you can put your back to the wind, get right up against the hole, and you won't have the problem of that wind blowing your rod tip around. And you'll be able to see those bites because with a longer rod, that rod tip's moving all over. Well, it's moving your bait down there too, all over. And then it's a lot harder to see the bite when they hit it when that longer rod's kind of waving around. The shorter rod I like just because better control, works great in the wind, and you're right over the top of the bait, so you can really see those little fine bites and those just softer bites.
And then when you're rigging up a schoolie, so we got a couple little tricks for you. Number one, when you do it, you want to pull the nut off and the washer off and kind of pull it apart.
Yep.
And then the base of the reel, this whole reel like comes apart very easily.
Yeah.
So you'll just pull it apart. You put the base of the reel, which is basically plastic,
Yep.
Onto the reel seat. Also, it's not going to sit well on the rod. It doesn't. There's like a gap, basically, until you crank it down.
Well, right, but there's also two little plastic pieces that are kind of higher than the base on the back. So what you want to do is shave those off. So now you just make that base completely flat, and that will help it sit better onto the reel seat. And then the second thing you do is you cut this eyelet off and that's why we put this one here. So you don't have to deal with that plastic eyelet because you get bigger fish that might make longer runs and more aggressive runs. Well, what it'll do is it actually start cutting through that plastic. And next thing you know, your line's on the outside of that plastic eye. So we put this metal one here, reversed it, and that thing there, you're never going to cut through that.
And then, like Griff talked about, hand control is the biggest reason you will use a schoolie. It is for very touchy bites, sensitive fish, pressured fish, like just fish that are tricky to get to bite. That's where you lean on a schoolie. Baits-wise, you're looking at kind of smaller jigs. I don't think, maybe a 4 mil max on a schoolie.
3 to 4 mils.
Even smaller.
Yeah, you can go smaller, but we typically don't go much smaller, but there's a lot of tournament guys that go down to 2, 1, some crazy Russian jigs, these tiny little things, but this will give you that ability to actually fish those.
And line-wise, you're typically we're going to be running 3 pounds, and I know Waldo will rig a couple up with 2 pound. Yep. Some tournament guys, you'll see going down to 1 pound.
Yeah, based on how light their jig is, they kind of follow it down with the line.
So that's what you'll do there. But if you want to see a great example of us using a schoolie rod and how effective they are, is Season 4, Episode 5, Welcome Back to Otter Tail County. This is one, we lean on a schoolie big time, catch a lot of fish.
Hey, Bart. Just smashed this one. 13 and I believe it was 13 and a quarter. I'll measure again. Yep, 13 and a quarter. But she got one eye. Battle worn bruiser. Let's let her go. We'll chat after. And she's off. Yeah, so what we've been doing is just kind of hopping around these more sporadic weeds. It's not like a giant weed line. But what you want to do is you find a hole that's close to like one weed stock. And so like literally the weed that I was on is right here. And so I just been keeping my Vexar to this side of the hole to keep it from really seeing the entire weed patch. And then I just been working this edge up and down. But yeah, we've been getting a lot of eaters, and that was the first real like good one we've got. But been seeing a lot, and I think closer to dark here, you know, typically these up north lakes, like that night, that sunset bite can be really hot. So we're just gonna keep at it, keep hole hopping around, and keep catching eaters, and hopefully some more of those bigger ones.
Okay, lastly, finesse rods. So there's a bunch of different finesse rods out there, and I think we consider a finesse rod largely one that will, what am I on?
Oh, you're on this.
I'm on that. Okay. Finesse rod is going to be something that has a spring bobber on it. Like Griff's Chronicle has a spring bobber on the front. This one has a bigger spring bobber, and this is Bart's Chronicle. So this is kind of your all-around, I would say all-around versatile ice fishing rod. It's built on a panfish blank like Pink's, so it's very moderate. It is very sensitive, but also it has that spring bobber. So you're able to be very, very finesse with it. There are other brands as well that have their own spring bobber setups and ways they use it. We like this one a lot, especially me, for just working tungsten jigs with plastics. You're able to be very controlled with them. You're able to detect bites because of the spring bobber. And I think where this rod excels the most, and you've seen in, you know, episodes of us catching really big fishes, this rod really pancakes when it is loaded with really big fish. So you're able to allow for big head shakes, keep these very little hooks that are on these jigs pinned in fish, and you're able to fight them very, very well. In terms of a reel on it, we mainly put, this would be a Spooler Elite rod. We mainly run this on this rod. I can't really think of another situation where we would put a spinning reel or anything else on it. Otherwise, you have your parabolic bend, you got your spring bobber, baits, 3 to 4 millimeter jigs, and typically I'm running 3 pound on this. I don't really ever go to 4 pound.
Right.
This is kind of your bread and butter rod, man. You can just rig this up, put a 4 millimeter tungsten jig on it, 3 pound test, go to town.
And I think it works better in like a shallow water situation too, or when the fish are suspended up off the bottom, because when they're there so close, when you set the hook, there's so minimal stretch in the line and everything, and with having that big parabolic bend, I find myself using this one on the backwaters a lot if I'm not using my schoolie, just because those fish are so close to the ice. And then if you're in a basin and those fish are only 5-6 feet down, this will help you land a lot more fish because you're not ripping it out of their face all the time.
Okay, perfect. So now Waldo and Pink are going to kind of dive into a couple other rods and applications you would use them for.
So, lipless rattle baits. We have a couple rod options for them. They've gotten really popular over the last few years. Rapala has a Rip and Wrap, Clam has a Psycho Shad, and we have 2 really strong options for this bait category. So the first one being the Chronicle. This is going to be one of the less expensive rods in our lineup, actually. It has just your normal fly guides on it. It's a 27-inch panfish blank, so it's a very parabolic taper, and it's got a 6-inch walleye handle on it. So nice cork Tennessee grip that you can just tape reels right onto. This rod is perfect for it because of that parabolic bend. If you pair it up with monofilament, it is a really good lipless bait rod. For some of the larger lipless baits, we're going to have Pink's rod, actually. This one is also going to have a similar parabolic bend to it as well. It's a little bit longer, more ideal for fishing outside as well. Pink, I'll let you kind of touch base on what your rod is so special for with lipless baits.
Yeah, I mean, this rod has a lot of applications, but we do love it for this one, especially for the little bit bigger baits. But it's a 36-inch panfish taper blank, which is the same blank that the Chronicle is built on, but it being 36 inches and having an 8-inch Tennessee cork handle actually gives it a tremendously different action. It also has recoil guides, which lighten up the overall load on the blank, so it actually feels slightly stiffer when you're actually fishing with it, even though it's the same blank. But this is a great rod, loads up deep in the handle. Awesome for fighting fish on, especially for these baits with all these little treble hooks on it. When it's really loaded up, it keeps those fish pinned. It's a lot more difficult to rip the hooks out of the fish that way,
Yeah.
which is why we like it. And you know, with a spinning reel on it, this is a great option. You know, this setup in particular has a 6-pound braid with a 4-pound mono leader on it. Really like that setup for this specifically. Run it with a fairly light drag, but love this rod for a lot of different things, but it really shines in this rattle bait category too.
Yeah, and so for line, like Pink had touched on, he's a big braid to monofilament leader guy. I'm personally a straight mono guy, so I use just straight 4-pound Frost monofilament from Clam. It's made by Sunline. It's really nice quality line. The other thing, we've got a couple reel options here as well. You know, with the Chronicle, I wanted just a little bit smaller, lightweight reel, so I went and put a Clam Outdoors Katana reel on it. One actually really cool feature about the Katana reel is it has a little button on the bottom that you press, and it just folds the handle down really nice and compact. So it's quick, easy storage. It fits on that rod absolutely perfect. Pink, however, he has a Masago, and we all love the Masago. It's a little bit larger spool arbor on it, so it holds more line, and the line loops are going to be bigger. The other nice thing is it has a little bit better drag than the Katana does as well. It is a higher price point than the Katana, but it's definitely a reel that we utilize a ton. So as far as baits, tons of lipless rattling baits on the market. We love the Clam Psycho Shad. You know, they actually launched that bait quite a long time ago, but it had very small hooks on it. They have upgraded the hooks. They have upgraded the split rings. They added a little bit more weight to it as well, so it really can get down fast, and it has a very nice shimmy on the fall. Rapala has their Rattle and Wraps. They're also a really good bait as well. They're a little bit skinnier. They don't have the same wobble. They're a little bit louder than the Psycho Shad as well. So there's a lot of really good lipless bait options, you know, but now.
Well, I will say, across the board, though, all these hard baits come in a ton of awesome colors.
Oh, yeah. The color selection's great. I mean, Clam has their koi colors that have a very unique, almost like camel pattern on it. It's a bunch of like paint splotches that really gets the fish's attention. They've also got their chartreuse Wonder Bread option. This is actually one of my favorite ones. It's very loud, very bright color, so it can, you know, trigger a few reaction strikes as well. But there's a lot of color options in these rattle baits. I know even Thorne has some custom Rapala colors that they have too that are really unique.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of success on the Psycho Shad too. So we have an episode actually. It was like season 5, episode 3. It looks like this. We caught a ton of fish on a Psycho Shad in that one, and it's really great to just see the different ways to work that bait and really get those fish to fire.
Yeah, and that was in the weeds too. That was a lot of fun. We were fishing shallow water in Wisconsin. I think that was actually the episode where you broke away from us and found your own fish too.
Yeah.
So it's a really good bait to cover water and get those reaction strikes. Ooh, crappie! Crappie on the Psycho.
Okay, beautiful, I don't know, 13 and a half maybe. Just absolutely slammed. Oh, nice kick. Absolutely slammed the chartreuse Wonder Bread Psycho Shad. This is the 1/12 ounce, one of my favorite baits. I got it on 4-pound Frost Mono. And then this is our new Chronicle rod. This rod is an amazing lipless bait rod. It pairs up perfectly with this 1/12 ounce. It's actually super sensitive for, you know, it being a little bit softer rod. But yeah, you can get it at Thorne Bros. It's only $100. It's actually a really awesome setup, and then I have it on a Katana reel. It's a perfect combo if you're looking to get into something that's not overboard expensive, but still has a lot of high quality components to it. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. It folded this thing over. And the thing that I like about it so much for this Psycho Shad presentation is it's a very parabolic bend. The bend goes almost all the way through the rod, but it still has enough power to it to bury the hook. So that was fun. Just fishing over some weeds with a Psycho Shad. You know, Corey Studer kind of introduced me into the lipless weed bite bait. And it's a lot of fun. It's addicting. So I'm going to see if I can catch a couple more. And I think things are starting to turn on. Sunset bite, baby. Gotta love it.
These ones are more like our ones back. They look like it on camera. Filming it. I was like,
There's another nice one.
absolutely crunched the Psycho again. There's a really good one again, and it absolutely crunched that Psycho shad. Front hook absolutely just buried. I got a nice little crappie. Woo.
I saved it.
You almost took a digger.
I just wanted to see your
man.
nice crappie.
A nice little crappie.
Heck yeah. Solid
Another
fish.
beautiful
Wide
fish.
there.
Yeah, they're super wide. They're very pretty out here. Heck yeah. And that was, again, on the Psycho.
Now we're going to go into power rods. Pink, what's a power rod?
Yeah, power rods to me are really like the Pink's Chronicle, like we just talked about for the rattling bait. But man, that rod is awesome for so many applications.
Yes.
So not just that, but really going to big baits, even like something like a Tikka minnow or just a larger profile bait than just a standard ice jig. I mean, even if you go to that, like a 6 mil plus or something.
With a flutter fry.
Yeah. Or just like a ball head jig with a bigger plastic on it. Those are really our power fishing type, bait categories. That this is the rod that we pretty much exclusively use for that. It does have a heavy enough tip to work a bait. That's the one thing that you'll find across the lineup with a lot of other ice rods, even in other brands, just that are comparable to this. I think we actually pulled out a few different ones here, some 13 rods and some clam rods, just across the board that have different blanks and things like that. But these ones with a little bit stiffer tip, not a noodle tip at all, just what we consider a panfish taper blank. But
it'll handle those larger baits better than what a noodle rod would.
Yeah, because what you'll find is if you're undergun or you're using too light of a rod, the tip really slaps around a lot, or it sags down just from the weight of the bait itself. So you really can't work a bait super effectively with it at all. But even with our power fishing setups, we still stick in that like 4-pound line class range. 4 to 6 pound test is really, all you need on the upper end of some of this panfish stuff.
Yeah, and another power rod that we added to the lineup last year is the Pinnacle. This is a great rod as well. It's a little bit of a different blank than your Pink's rod's going to be. It's slightly softer and it's a shorter blank as well. It is a carbon blank, so it is very sensitive, but this is a little bit more of a compact version of Pink's rod. So for all you guys that like to fish in an ice house, this is a really good option for you to still use those big baits without having such a large rod to handle those baits on. So this is going to be another really good option for you when you're, using big baits to target large fish.
Yeah, and we love being able to show you guys like different episodes where we did this stuff, and the one where we pretty much cranked him on this Pink's Chronicle was a Red Lake episode, which was the first episode of season 4.
Boom is back.
And I think that would be a really classic example to look at to just see how effective a little bit heavier backbone rod can be, especially for really aggressive fish like that, where you're setting the hook, wrenching those fish out of a school and getting right back down there and getting them again.
Why'd you do that? Oh, I seen that. Didn't blow that one.
No. Got that one. Got him.
Big?
No. They're still here though.
Just a Palmer.
Just another chunk.
They're still down there?
Yep. Just deal it down the hole.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Oh yeah, they're showing up big time. Griff's just going right down that hole again. Oh boy, here we go. Good one. Eh? Very eh? Get him.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Big head.
Biggie.
Oh, big head.
Biggie. Yeah.
Oh wow. I think he wanted that.
Oh wow. Oh wow. God, that's a pretty one, dude.
Look at that thing. It is a pretty one.
Super white. All right, I'm gonna release this one, but I'm gonna try to. Stop. Well, that doesn't look small.
The other cool thing about these rods too is these aren't just panfish rods. They work as lightweight walleye rods. They work as perch rods. They're very versatile.
Yeah.
So not only are they for big baits for big crappies, but they're also great multi-species rods on top of that.
And they're super fun to fight fish.
Yes, they are, because you can really horse them in with it. I mean, especially if you hook like a mid-sized walleye, like a mid-20s walleye on Pink's rod, it is just an absolute ball to fish with. So check these guys out, and thank you for watching another episode of Expose the Ice.